Well, ready or not, let's shoot a video. Welcome to Kurt's Solar Power Battery Cart. So tonight I'm going to try to shoot a short video so I don't lose your attention span. But I'm going to show you how you don't have to worry about shocking yourself with 24-volt batteries. I'm going to give you a demonstration of me touching the positive and the negative of 24-volt batteries and not feeling a thing. And I'm also going to try to talk about fuses, which they're a little complicated, and I'm going to try my best to keep it as simple as possible. The basic gist is when you put a fuse in a battery cable, like the only part of the battery cable that's going to be protected by the fuse is the part of the battery cable that comes after the fuse. So you've got the battery cable going to the fuse, and then the battery cable leaving the fuse. Like the only part of the battery cable that's going to be protected by the fuse from short circuit is going to be the part of the battery cable that's leaving the fuse. So it's not the easiest thing in the world to wrap your head around, but I'm going to try my best to not clutter things up too much. I've got to check out. Here's my camera stand. It's a cooler. So I'll tell you, the first thing we'll do, let's do the dangerous thing, supposedly. So we have, as you can see, I'm gonna touch these batteries real quick, so you can watch me die, but I'm not, because I've done it a bunch of times. So right there, you can see I have a positive bus bar and I have a negative bus bar down here on the bottom. So let's see, I'm gonna try to get this camera. I think you can see there's a nut right there really easily. So I'm touching it right now, and I think you can see there's a nut right there really easy, and I'm gonna touch it right now. So I'm literally touching four batteries at the same time right now. My right hand is touching 4 negatives, and my left hand is touching 4 positives. Now these are 24-volt batteries, and I can't feel a thing. So I saw a video about this, and supposedly the internet says that you have to have 30 to 40 volts to actually be shocked by a battery. And it also said that 50 volts was potentially lethal. So now right now I've got 4 24-volt batteries lined up in a row, but they're run parallel. So it's only 24 volts. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I've got this eco-worthy 3,000 watt inverter, and it will only accept 24 volts. So I can touch 24 volts without shocking myself. And the reason why I can do that is because 24 volts, or really it's 26 volts, but 26 volts, it's not enough voltage to overcome the resistance of my skin. So I can touch away. Now I haven't tried a 12-volt battery, but I'm pretty sure you'd be safe touching both terminals of a 12-volt battery. But now you get up to a 36-volt battery, and that's like the threshold. You might feel it, you might not feel it. Depends on how thick your skin is. But you get up to the 48-volt battery, which is really 51, 52 volts. And the internet says that's lethal. So you might want to skip that. Okay. All right, so now the next thing is the fuses. That's what I really want to talk about. So let me get my 2x4. Let's see here, man. I got to have my lamp. All right, so in the beginning, I was looking for ways to save money. Little did I know that that's a really good way to spend a bunch of money. So I bought this disconnect breaker that I just showed you, this little apparatus right here. And I bought it because it's a DC circuit breaker, and it functions as a breaker. So if a bunch of power gets drawn through it, it will trigger I think it's 160 amp. I'm not sure. I'd have to check. But it's also a disconnect switch. So instead of me installing a disconnect switch and fuses and having two things to hook up, like I heard about this DC disconnect breaker switch. So I only had to hook up one thing. So now the problem was I hooked it up in a place that was really convenient for me to put it. But I had watched a video about a month earlier, and it was basically talking about how when you put a fuse in a line, the fuse doesn't really protect the entire line from shorts. And basically, so let's say you got battery power, and then you got a copper wire running to your breaker or your fuse. If a short occurs in the wire coming from the battery to the fuse can't catch that. So it's like the short has to occur after the fuse, because the only way for a fuse to catch a short circuit is the electricity that's being drawn by the short circuit has to actually go through the fuse to pop it, or it has to go through the breaker to trip it. Like the simple analogy is the power in your house, the breaker box. And like the breaker box is the power source. The breaker in your house attaches directly to the breaker box. So there's no way for you to get a short circuit before the breaker. Like the only way that you're going to get a short circuit, 99% of the time, is going to be the copper wire leaving the breaker, traveling through the wall and going to your plug. Like if you trip the circuit at the plug, or if you drive a nail through the wire in the wall and you get a short circuit, the power that's being drawn out of the power source by that short circuit has to go through the breaker or the fuse, and then it can pop. But these these DIY solar systems are a little different. You put the breaker or the fuse wherever you think it's supposed to go. And I put mine right there. And if I were to get a short in this black wire, then the short would be occurring before the circuit breaker. And so I would never trip that circuit breaker, because the power from the short circuit would never get to the breaker to trip it. So I was trying to avoid. Now, I'm still not an expert, right? So I've got two fuses on my positives, and I have two more fuses that I haven't installed on my other two positives. Like I should have done that tonight, but I'm using the power, so I don't really want to take it apart. But now on the other side of the battery, I have 4 fuses, one on each battery on the negative. Like I'm pretty sure having fuses on the red is probably overkill, but I wasn't 100% sure at the time, and I'm still not really 100% sure now. So I'm just going to leave them there because they don't seem to cause a problem. But this way, the fuses on the other side of the battery, they're coming on the negative wires. So if a short circuit occurs anywhere on this black negative wire, anywhere past the fuse, which is everything, because the fuse, as you see, these fuses are attached directly. Let me see here if we can get a little closer. Man, I'm telling you, it's just not the easiest thing to see. But these fuses are attached directly to my battery. So there's really no way for a short circuit to occur before the fuse. Any short circuit that happens in a battery cable is going to happen after the fuse, which means whatever power gets drawn by the short circuit will have no choice but to come through the fuse and then pop it. Bow. So now the disconnect breaker, it still functions as a disconnect switch, and it is still technically a breaker. So if I were to get a short let me see, can you see? If I were to get a short in the black wire coming out of the breaker going to the inverter, then it's possible the breaker would catch that short. But as far as the power going into the breaker, if this thing shorts out anywhere, like the power from the short will never make it to the breaker, so it'll be hard to trip it. But that's why I've put fuses. Of course, as I said, these are the positives, so I'm not even sure I need them there. But I definitely have 4 of these on the 4 negative terminals, which is really hard to see. Let me see here. It's in there. It's in the dark. This is a really kind of cramped setup I got. This is the first one I ever built. But anyways, we're just going to leave it at that. Put those fuses close to the battery and any power that gets drawn out. So what is it? So if you put the fuse on the battery, any power coming from the battery that exceeds that fuse will pop. So if you get a short circuit anywhere in the battery cables after the battery, it'll catch it. So if you're going to build a system, you might want to watch out for that. Thanks for watching my video. I really appreciate it.